Good afternoon, all the way from India, in fact. And it's really a pleasure to be able to present here after 6 iterations. My name is Vijayanth, and the name is a mouthful, so I do go by VJ, so feel free to call me that. I stay in India and I work at this company called RF Systems. And today I want to talk about how you have a lot of flexibility with the Git clients that you can use for various operations. To start with a few disclaimers. First, like I said, I do welcome interruptions, but please shout out that you do have a question, and I will pause the presentation there. I love puns, so you can expect many puns in this presentation throughout the course of the presentation. But if the majority of the audience does not like it, I will try to minimize that, but I can only promise to try. I might not succeed. Third thing is I'm a Windows user, so some of the slides that I have that relate to setup and settings and so on is more Windows centric. So if you are a Linux or a Mac OS user, these slides may not be as relevant. All right. So I have been practicing Git and certified as a Git practitioner 6 months ago, 8 months ago, actually. But that is only in the very recent time. Before that, for many years, I think for about a decade, I've repeatedly tried starting to learn and understand Git and did not succeed. I found it very confusing and I ultimately concluded that it's beyond me. There were all of these confusing terms called pull, push, fork, branch, merge, and whenever I saw some videos, I was not able to understand why to do what and when. So this was my state until very recently, in fact. January 2025, I started learning Git diligently, mainly because I needed to use it at work and there was no other go. And three factors helped me to rapidly gain proficiency with Git. In fact, in a matter of months. First is that I have very understanding colleagues who helped me whenever I made mistakes and coached me on what I can do to recover from it. And in fact, a few of them are in attendance here. So I'm very grateful to them for helping me out in the initial journey as well. The biggest factor was Sam Taggart's Using Git Effectively course. Now, this course, it goes into both what to do in order to use Git, and also with each operation or with most operations, it goes and explains what happens under the hood. So knowing what was happening also helped me to understand why I need to do a particular action at any given time. Do I need to commit now? Do I need to push now? Do I need to pull now? Do I need to merge? All of that, I got very good clarity, mainly from this course. The best part is the course also delves into LabVIEW-centric problems. So if you have the resources available, please do try this course. At least for me, it worked very well. So I went from zero to hero, as you put it, in terms of proficiency. Third thing that helped was I could practice on my own. And for this, I came up with some exercises independently where if I ran into a problem at work and my colleagues helped me out, I would recreate that problem on my PC locally. Like Anders mentioned, you can create local repos. So I would try to create something locally and try to fix it by seeing the solutions online. Or if I found something new, then I could try to reproduce it on my PC and test out whether the solution from the internet works and I won't damage the client code that we work with. One more thing that practice did was made me go over the hump of I was very afraid that anything I do will bring my complete company's client code crashing. Git is very resilient, but it was only practice that helped me understand how resilient it is. So on that note, in the upcoming GDEFCON NA, Sam and I have a workshop where we have a collection of exercises, many exercises that will help new Git users or even experienced Git users to see how they can recover from real world mistakes. So if you are coming to GDEFCON NA or you're interested in this workshop, please go take a look, buy tickets. All right. we'll start with the actual presentation. Now, first things first that I was very confused with for a long time is how to install Git. Because when I started looking into Git, this was about a decade or decade and a half ago, when I first heard about Git and how it's very beneficial to users. Instructions were mainly for Linux installations, so I just gave up for that reason also, that hey, I can't install Git on my PC, so I'm not worrying about it. But it's actually become very easy to install Git. And so for this presentation, what I did was I uninstalled Git from my PC so that I can accurately give you how the latest screens look like. And to install Git, you first need to go to this URL that I've shortlisted there, and you have Git setup files for Windows, Linux, Mac OS, all platforms. So I'm going to focus on Windows, as I mentioned. Download the setup file, open it. You have to give the user access control permission, UAC permission. After that, you get to the screen where you have to accept the agreement. Now, I'm not going to go through every option that is there here in the interest of time, but I will jump the gun here and say once you have finished the installation, if at any point in time you change your mind and want to redo a setting to change a particular setting that you have checked first and now you want to uncheck or you want to change some other thing, all you need to do is open up the Git setup file that you had downloaded previously, run it. This time, compared to previously, you will get this new dialog box at the bottom, checkbox at the bottom that says only show new options. Ensure that that is not selected. After that, you can then go through the setup once more and change whatever options you want to. That way, in the background, Git will very smoothly uninstall the existing setup, even if it is the same version, and reinstall it with the new option set. So you're very free to change your mind about these options as you get more comfortable as well. Now, moving on to the setup itself, after you accept the agreement, the first screen that you get is where to store Git. This is sort of obvious, so I'm going to just breeze through. The next screen shows you a couple of options. By default, the first two options are checked. What the second, third, and fourth options, sorry, these are checked. If you have them selected, what happens after setup is you can go to any folder, right click it, select show more options, and you will get a submenu where you have two options called open git GUI here and open git bash here. Selecting either one will open the git bash window to or the git GUI window to the path that the folder was in where you right clicked. And this is good, but it's sort of cumbersome because you now have two menus. In Windows 10, it was just one menu, so it was very convenient. But I do have some other settings that will improve this user experience going forward. Second thing I want to note is that by default, these two checkboxes are unchecked, where you are asked whether you want to check Git daily for, check daily for whether Git has any updates. If you're a regular user, this is recommended because if there are any bug fixes, then you don't need to go searching, they'll automatically get installed. And it's a very hassle-free installation. You get a pop-up, do you want to update or not? So if you're in the middle of work, you can also defer it to later. So recommended is to keep it turned on. Second, you have add a Git bash profile to Windows terminal. I'll get to what it means in the upcoming slides. After the screen, you get this particular window where you have to select which text editor to use for certain operations. By default, Git chooses Vim. And the description here itself says that Vim is not very convenient to use. So unless you're an experienced Vim user, you might want to check out some other options, such as Notepad++. I use that because I'm very comfortable with Notepad++. But if you don't have any other text editor installed in Windows, you can even use Notepad or scroll down through the list and you'll find some other thing to use and you can. And again, if you change your mind, if you've installed, selected Notepad here, but you want to use Notepad++ or Sublime Text or whatever, run the Git setup again. You will get the screen, change it to whatever you need to, and Git will modify it in the background. Then this window also comes somewhere in between. I'm skipping a few setup screens. Here, and I'm only showing those windows which confused me personally. So in this window, you're asked how deep should the Git interface be on Windows? And the recommended setting here is the center one, which I always choose, where you can also open a separate Git Bash shell window, or you can use existing shells like PowerShell to do Git operations. So it gives you the best of both worlds, basically. Then this other setting that is there here, where you are asked how Git should store text files. Windows text files, as you may already know, has carriage return and line feed to denote the end of the line. Unix only has line feed. So there's an option in the Git settings where you can say when my text file is being stored in the repo, uh, ensure that all carriage returns are removed so that at least on the repo size is slightly smaller maybe. And when you check out that text file, automatically add the carriage return so that Windows will not complain. So I use this option. Okay, now I want to come back to the setting that I talked about earlier, which is add a Git Bash profile to Windows Terminal. This one. If you select this, what happens is that if you open Windows Terminal now, you get one more entry in your list called Git Bash. Open that, and it opens up a Git Bash window in Windows Terminal. By default, it opens up to the user profile directory. As you can see, my computer's name is Vijayanth Desktop, and the user account is our system, so it opens up to that directory. And to me personally, the Windows Terminal color scheme and font seem very much clear compared to the Git Bash window that opens up when you do open Git Bash here. So I've struggled with this window for a long time before realizing, okay, I can also do it in PowerShell, in Windows Terminal and move to here. One annoying aspect, as I have just shown, is that if you open Windows Terminal, you will first see Windows PowerShell open up by default if you have default settings. And if you still open Git Bash, you open to some other directory. So what you can do is you can go to settings in Windows Terminal. First option to change is the default profile. Change it to Git Bash. This is assuming that you're not a rigorous PowerShell user and you don't mind Windows Terminal opening up with Git Bash. Once you do that, on the left side, I hope my pointer is visible. Hello?
Yes. Mouse pointer is visible.
Yeah, mouse pointer is visible. Okay, thank you. So on this left side itself, go down and you will see a setting for Git Bash. Select that. Open up this drop down for starting directory and check this checkbox which says use parent process directory and save. What happens after that is that if you open any folder on your PC now and either this address bar that is there, you edit it to WT, replace everything that is there in your current address bar to WT and hit enter. Or in the folder, right click and click on open in terminal. It will automatically open up the Git Bash window in a new Windows terminal, and it will be opening up from the path that is selected, the folder from where you have right clicked or selected WT. So it saves a lot of operations that needed to be done before. Now, if I have an empty folder or a folder that is not a repo, Git Bash will look like this, where it will show you the folder name. If it is a repo, it will also show you what branch you are on. So that is something that also helps you to readily differentiate whether the current path that you're on is a Git repo or not. And as Anders was mentioning, yeah, I think I did see a raised hand.
That was a misclick.
Okay, fine. So this also shows that I do see raised hands, so thank you. Okay, so on the folder, as Anders was mentioning prior to this, you will have what is called the working copy, which is all the code that is outside the .git folder. And you have a .git folder that is the whole repository of information for what files you have committed, what branches you have, what is the status of the changed files in each branch, how many commits, all of that will get stored in this .git folder. Now, obvious question is, how do I go from an empty folder into a repo? Anders already covered this. You open up any folder on your PC, type git in it, and you convert that into a repo. And in the background, the .git folder will also be installed. Okay, so until all this, if you do all of these settings and all, it becomes, somewhat less torturous to use the Git CLI. So let's start with the first basic ubiquitous tool that we have that comes bundled with Git, which is the command line interface. If there is one command that you should memorize, really, it is git status. It is very versatile. It will tell you the current status of your repo and and it will also suggest what actions to take. For instance, if now I have this new repo, right? So what I've done is I've gone to this empty folder, did git in it, and I got this completely blank repo. Git status will now show me that it is on branch master and that there are no commits yet, and also that there is nothing to commit. And then it very helpfully also tells me, create or copy files and use git add to track. So I did just that. I created a file offline. I created a text document, and then I did git status. I repeated the git status command. Now my information from the CLI is we are still on branch master. There are no commits yet, and there is an untracked file. This untracked file means it's in the unstaged area that Anders was also mentioning. And then it says git add file, suggests use git add file to include that in what is to be committed. And also says the status is that there is nothing added to the commit, but there are untracked files present. So I did what Git CLI told me to. I said git add this text file that I've created. What happens next when I do git status is that I'm told that there are no commits yet because now the file has moved into the staging area. And it also tells me if I want to remove those files, I can use the git rm command. Now here it does not tell me what command to use to commit, but I think if you try a wrong command, it will correct it for you. But I happen to know the command to commit files is git commit -a is for committing all the files that are staged, which is what I wanted to do here. The m flag lets you add a commit message. So I just sent this command git commit -am init commit, and Git CLI very helpfully told me one file was changed and it was inserted as well. Now when I do git status, I am told I'm still on branch master. Whatever had to be committed has been committed and the working tree is green. Working tree refers to the folder that is there on disk that is outside the .git folder. And there is nothing there that needs to be committed. Now Git CLI has quite a few advantages. As I hope I've demonstrated, if you're a complete beginner and you try the git commands using git status as and when needed, Git CLI itself gives you very good info on what to do next. And it supports every operation that there is with Git, whether you want to do a basic operation or an advanced operation like merge or rebase that Anders was mentioning. You can do all of it with the Git CLI. Also, if you, as you gain experience with Git and we tend to gravitate towards certain GUI clients, right? So I personally prefer SourceTree. I'll get to that in a bit. You might prefer Tortoise Git or Fork, or I think Anders was talking about Source Git. So multiple Git GUI clients out there, and you might like one of them. Then if I ask you for help, hey, I'm running into this issue, can you help me? But I don't have the CLI tool that you are used to. If the GUI tool that you are used to, if you do know something about Git CLI, at least we can, have some common language and you can help me out. So basic knowledge, working knowledge of Git CLI can come in handy in that way as well. Also, all Git GUI clients don't support all features that Git has. So if you are partial to a particular client, but it does not do some operation, you can revert back to the Git CLI to do that same operation. And if you are stuck somewhere and want to know what the repo state is, just do git status. So if the Git GUI is, the GUI client is also in some weird state or it's hanged and you don't know what's happening, just open up the terminal and do git status. But that is very cumbersome to do every time, right? So if I have to add a single file, also I have to do 5 or 6. I had to send 5 or 6 commands, and if you have to do it on repeat, that becomes very, very tedious. So the good news is that there are a lot of wrappers around the Git CLI, and if you go to this particular URL, you will find a complete list across all operating systems. But what is important to note is that all the clients still look at the same .git folder, scan it, parse it, and then display the information to you. And if you perform an operation using the Git CLI client, the Git GUI client, sorry, it will still under the hood use the same CLI commands that you might otherwise use with Git CLI. So what this means is that you are not restricted to using just one client. You can install multiple clients if you want and use each for whatever purpose they are best suited for. As an example, myself, I'm very partial to SourceTree, as I mentioned. But very recently, SourceTree had this bug where it was not showing me a very old commit in some client code. So what I did was I made whatever commits that I needed to the latest commits with SourceTree, then temporarily installed fork because I know that is very, very fast. Opened up the Git repo in fork and looked at the commit graph and searched for the very old commit that I wanted to verify whatever information I wanted, and then uninstalled it. So it's also important to know that you can sideload all of these clients. So I did not have to uninstall SourceTree to install fork. And as I mentioned, I do have preferences on some clients that I like more than others. SourceTree is my daily driver. I use it for work and in personal projects as well as much as possible. Things that I like about SourceTree is that it makes cloning own repos very easy. So if you have your GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket account and you add that as a user account in SourceTree, when you open up the remote tab, uh, if you click on a new tab and click on remote, select your account, it will automatically list all the repos that your organization or your account has, and you can directly click on clone and clone it. So you don't need to open up uh, the same repository online, find the HTTP link or the SSH link, and then use it to download. So it becomes very easy. Then, as you see from this UI, there is tabbed browsing. So I might have repos from 2 or 3 different clients that my company works with, have them all in SourceTree and in different drives, different locations. I don't need to keep track of where each repo is because I can, open up SourceTree, add all of my repos as needed, and switch to the repo using that particular tab. Click on this terminal button if I want to open the Git CLI, Git Bash window, sorry, and that will point to this particular repo automatically, or I can click on Explorer to open the folder on disk. So it's very easy to navigate. And as you can see from this window, even though the currently checked out branch in SourceTree is in bold, that is how the interface displays it. But even though I'm on this local only feature branch, at a glance, I can see the branches that I previously checked out, namely feature and master, have some pulls and pushes pending. And it very helpfully also displays a glyph that says, okay, master, I have commits that I need to push. Feature, I have commits that I need to pull. So, and you can also see it from the history here, for instance, if you're new to Git. So the remote branch is here and I have a local commit for master here. So I need to push this commit to the remote repository. Similarly, my feature branch has something added in the remote repository, which is not available on my local PC. So I need to pull changes from the remote server onto my PC. So it's easy to see it. Obviously, if you have a large commit graph and too many branches and it's a huge project and a huge repository, it becomes very, very easy to look at your left pane here and see at a glance if you are currently on the have the latest commits, or you need to do something. The best part I like about source tree is that it auto refreshes whenever something changes. So for instance, if I have source tree open here, I am on this local only branch, as I mentioned. If I click on Explorer, add a new file, and for simplicity, I'll just use something here. The minute I bring back source tree into focus, it will refresh and tell me that there is something unstaged. So I don't need to separately go and try get status or something like that to know what I have pending. I can stage it from here. I can go and commit it and what have you. So all of this is very, very simple. So I need to go through this again. But one thing that I don't like about source tree is of late there have been some bugs and also some complex operations that are there. They can be cumbersome. So for instance, Git interactive rebase or some merges with conflicts, I've not been able to handle it very well with source tree. So I'm slowly gravitating towards fork as well. Fork, if you look at discussions around Git in the LabVIEW Discord server especially, you will see a lot of known names recommend fork. Particularly these two people, I was in fact just seeing this presentation the other day. I'd never seen it before. And the whole presentation was like Fab and Jorg and used fork, and whichever clients they worked with, they recommended fork to them and they were also happy. So it comes with a lot of positive feedback. And as I discovered for myself, it is very fast. And to the best of my knowledge, it is relatively bug free. There is no major bug that I could see. It is feature rich, and the feedback that I saw online also is that it is very, very close to how Git CLI operates. So all of the operations that you can do with Git CLI, I think all of them are supported natively by fork. And things like using reflog, viewing the reflog, or doing complex operations like interactive rebase with, you know, changing the order of commits or rewording a commit or editing a commit, all of them are supposed to be much easier here compared to the Git CLI. Also, one thing that I like about fork is that once you start using fork, you will see that every operation has a shortcut key. Now I've not used it much, so I don't know all the shortcut keys. I don't have them memorized. Sort of like quick drop. It took me a long while for all of those to become instinctive. So, but because of all of these keyboard shortcut keys, all the Git operations become very fast once you learn them. So I can, with a rapid stroke of keys, I can just stage commit files in a jiffy. And as I mentioned, I've not used it extensively. I've used it for some personal projects, and wherever I've used it, I've liked it, and I'm slowly liking it more than source tree, especially for the more complex operations too. And lastly, actually, even though it is cumbersome, I do like Git CLI for a few things, especially for interactive rebase. Now, interactive rebase, if you do not know, is something where if you have a series of commits, you can start interactive rebase and reorder the commits. Like if you have committed file 1 now and file 2 5 minutes later, you can make the commit graph reorder the commit so that file 2 to make it seem like file 2 was committed first and file 1 was committed later. And these operations, I somehow find it surprisingly very easy to do with CLI compared to source tree. And I've not done it much with folks, so I can't comment on that. Also, my go-to here for whenever I'm stuck, apart from Git status, especially if I'm merging something or rebasing, is to go and, sorry, I think I did not reorder this properly. Yeah. So if I'm in the middle of a rebase, for instance, I can just type git rebase dash dash abort if I'm not happy with the conflicts that are there or I'm not confident about the changes. And Git will immediately undo all of these changes and I'm back to where I am. Also, this is one more thing that I can highlight, which is that if you look here, apart from the branch name, if you're in the middle of a rebase or in the middle of a merge, that will also come up in the CLI. So if you're stuck somewhere but don't know whether your rebase operation or your merge operation was done, open up the CLI, the Git bash window, and it will tell you whether it's completed or not. If it is completed, you'll just see the branch name. You won't see rebase or merge. And if you're still in the middle of it, but you want to undo it, as I mentioned, just add -- abort to the particular operation. Okay. I'm just sorry about this. Last minute changes. Prior to realizing that I can do this, I used to back up the whole repo that I had to a separate folder so that if I messed up something, I can just delete the current folder and replace it with a backup. Obviously, with repos that are in GBs, that was a very slow operation. So Git CLI is something that I've grown to love more than, more as the time passes by. I am actually close to the end of my presentation. The main advice that I can give is choose your poison. If you're using a Git client now and you're unhappy with it, try installing something else. Look for things that are popular or things that you might feel will suit you better. Try it out. Answer the following questions. Does it suit your workflow? Does it make your work easier and faster? So if you're spending 5 minutes of the day doing a single Git operation that you could be spending coding, obviously that's not the right tool. And if you find a more efficient one, you can move to that. And if you're trying a new client, you can keep your existing client also installed until you're happy with the new client and see that it does everything that you desire, and then you can uninstall the previous one, or keep both installed so that you can do a little of this, a little of that, move between all of them. And if nothing else, then there's always the Git CLI to fall back on. And sort of a reminder again, there is this upcoming workshop. So if you're interested, please do join. And that is actually the end of my presentation. So it's open for questions if you have any. And if you'd like to talk further, I can be reached on Discord. I haunt a lot of the LabVIEW Discord servers, LinkedIn, and on email as well.
Yes, I have a question.
Yep.
I was just thinking about, have you considered writing your own Git bash config so you could automate some of the CLI commands?
It is in the pipeline. I'm a big fan of automation using LabVIEW, so I've done it for a lot of things, but Git CLI is something that I've not started with. And that's, yes, one of the first prerequisites is the Git CLI command so that you can automate it, right? So I'm still getting there with Git CLI, but yes. Hopefully you'll see some BIPM packages down the line somewhere from me. Yeah.
Any more questions, comments? I can see that there have been some discussion about different Git tools from Totio's Git, GitHub Desktop, Fork. Fork is Python. It's a license you have to purchase for about $60.
On commercial use, or?
Yeah, at least. I'm actually not sure if it's only for Fork. And the other is SourceGit. I'll just start using that. I would say it's also highly recommended. My comment with SourceTree is when I'm doing rebasing and with merge conflict.
Sorry, I think I missed something.
Come on. Yes. Are we online again? Yes.
Yeah.
My only with SourceTree is that when you're rebasing and have to, and there's a merge conflict, then it's not always obvious to see which brands are you merging to and from, which one should you select. And both Git Fork and SourceGit, it is saying the name of the branch, where SourceTree is saying your branch or my branch, and it's often the opposite way that I'm thinking. And Jesper is saying it, you have to pay both for personal and commercial on fork. But SourceGit is open source.
But sorry to interrupt, but one thing about fork is it's free to try. So you can try it out for a while to see if you like it before purchasing it. Like they don't make you purchase it right at the beginning. So that is something that I wanted to add.
Yeah. Fork is, as Jonathan is saying, Fork is very good at it. I'm seeing SourceGit is doing exactly the same, so it is also very good at it. And another difference I see is in a source tree. If you have some differences, if your local branch and your remote branch is like going apart and there's some differences, then it's difficult to like force it in, where both fork and SourceGit like have force it in. No matter if it's not fitting, then push it up, discard, delete everything on the other branch. It is some of the comments I have to that.
Okay. So force push is, I mean, I don't want to, really defend source tree, but force push is also possible with source tree, which I very recently discovered. So until then, I was deleting my local branch and then pulling checking out the remote branch again. But it's buried in the settings somewhere. But you can do a force push as well.
Okay, then it's just the UI that is, but it's good that you also can do that, definitely. Yes.